summer with Designer DIY. Sincerely, thank you so much for buying one of our kits. This video is made to accompany the written directions that are included in your kit. Your written directions will give you the specific lengths that you need to cut all of your materials. This video is just going to kind of explain the verbiage used, what we mean by squish and rolled and all of those fun things. So let's get started. Let's open up your kit. Your kit may be different colors. You may have chosen a different wreath look, but the technique is the same. What this kit is for our rolled wreath with front ribbons only. So what's included in this kit will be your wreath base, which is already pre-wired, so you don't have to deal with the pipe cleaners or wiring it yourself. Your fabulously written directions, and 2 bolts of mesh. Now your mesh may be 2 separate colors or they're both the same color. It doesn't matter. The technique we're going to do is the same for either combination. You also have whichever cute sign or accessory comes in, a bottle of freight check, and a bag that has your ribbons included in it. So what you're going to do for your first step is we take out our wreath base. And as you see, they have these little pines that come in pairs. What I do is I work on the back ring first, which is the bigger ring, and I pull my pines straight and I kind of open them so they look like alligator teeth, and they're just going to be like that. So they're ready for us when our hands are full of mesh. Then what you're going to do is cut your mesh into the lengths that is specified in your directions. I've already pre-cut mine to make it nice and easy. And what you're going to do once you have all of your mesh cut, you are going to grab 2 pieces of one color. It does not matter which color, just randomly select one. And do you see how they're already kind of rolled in tubes? What we want to do is just help them roll into loose tubes. By tubes, I mean flat on both sides. And you don't want to make them these really tight little things because then your wreath won't be so full. So you're going to take that and you're going to do it with both colors. Okay, you have your 2 loose tubes. What you're going to do is you're going to take them and just make an X with them. Then you're going to grab 1 piece of your other color and you're going to also roll it into your loose tube. Now I have my X. All I'm going to do with my other piece, it's going to go straight up and down to form a little star. So my thumb is grabbing this way and my star is facing up. Then what I do is I just kind of take them and squish them this way. Now if you only have 1 color of mesh, both bolts were 1 color, you're going to do the exact same technique. So you would grab the 2 and make an X, and then with the same color, you're just going to form a star this way. So we have our star. Now we're going to go ahead and put it in our wreath. Now we're going to take our star and we're going to turn it horizontally and we're going to put it inside one of the pairs of pine. So it's going to go in, and horizontally, I mean going along with the shape of the circle. You do not want your mesh going in this way. You're going to have these gaps and it won't look so full. So you're going to take your mesh, and all I do is take the pine once nice and tight, and then I do another twist around. Now we're going to go to the next pine, which is right next door. And what we're going to do when you have 2 colors of mesh is this time we're going to take 2 pieces of the color that you only took 1 last time. So then we do the same thing. I made my loose tubes. They don't have to be perfect. And you're going to take your other color and make an X. Now remember, if you have the same color of mesh, your next one will be the same color again, over and over and over, just 3 pieces of the same color. For this one, I have my X. I'm gonna take my other color, and while I'm kind of holding it in my hand, I use my other fingers, and up and down exactly, squish it. And right next door, again, you want it to go with the shape of the circle. Your mesh should be hitting each other, which will make it appear very full. 1 tight pull and a single twist around. Now that's it. That's basically the whole technique. We're going to repeat it on the back circle. We're not worrying about this inner circle. So I'm going to go to my first combination again, which was 2 black pieces. I'm going to do my nice loose rolls. And some of your rolls will be tighter depending where they were on the bolt. If they were some of the last pieces you cut, there'll be a tighter tube and the first ones will be looser, and it doesn't matter. Don't overthink this wreath. There's nothing complicated about it. Okay, now I'm on to my 2 grays. Loose tubes. In some of our mesh, we have 3 or 4 different textures of mesh, which I love mixing. It really gives it a completely different look. So if they're rolling differently because they're different textures, again, it doesn't matter. Nothing is gonna make this wreath look bad. They're going to be so beautiful. You're gonna be so proud of yourself. Okay, roll in my tubes. Oh, and this mesh, it loves to grab itself, so it kind of sticks. Just be gentle and be patient. Have a good time. Rolling my tubes. Remember, sideways, 1 tight pull and a twist. When you do your first crossover, you really do want to make it tight. It makes it go down here and kind of fluff up. It's like backcombing your hair. When the roots are tighter, then this stuff gets fluffier. This again. Tight and twist. And then what I kind of do is I take them so they're fluffing up against each other, kind of leaning on each other. Nice loose roll. The trickiest part about this whole wreath is remembering which pattern you just put together. I'm gonna do a nice tight. Here we go, 1 tight cross and a spin around. Only 2 groups left. So now, usually the wreath bases will have 10 different groupings, which will end us where the 2 opposite colors are next to each other. If something happens and your wreath was made with 9 or 10 groupings and you end up with the same colors right next to each other, do not panic. I promise, once your wreath is made, you will never, ever, ever be able to find where those groups are. So don't go back or try to worry about it. Make your whole entire wreath and you will never see that part. Okay, this is my last grouping. Tight pull and a single twist around. Okay, so for this type of wreath, that is all you're gonna do for the back row. Now we're gonna work on this inner row where I'm gonna open them since that's where we're gonna put our mesh. And remember, in, not that way. We want it to go, the pine goes in so the mesh can go sideways. Now, pick whichever ones you want. It doesn't matter where you're gonna start, which color combination you begin with. But you're just gonna do the exact same technique that you did on the bottom. Roll, star, and again, make your mesh go sideways, running into each other. Kind of pull it, fluff it. Looking so good. Oh, my mesh hooked again. Okay, so we're gonna roll. And gonna do this. Right next door. Now this ring is smaller, so they're gonna get closer and closer to each other, which is wonderful. That's what we want. Nice and full and tight. But that's why we do the outer ring first. If you do the small inner ring, it gets very difficult to be able to find all of the little pine pieces that we have going. So this one's gonna go right here. Tight twist. So that was 2 black. Gonna do our 2 grays. Like that. Other piece. Twist. Turn. 2 black ones. Okay, so we only have 3 more after this. Now, if we're getting down to the bottom and you notice that you have mesh left over, don't you worry. We are going to end up using it. Nothing goes to waste. We can always put more in. But you will have cut pieces left after all of your little groupings have their mesh in. And once we're done putting all of our things in, I'll show you what to do with that extra mesh. Now I've mentioned before, remember, we're just doing 1 cross and a single twist. Don't keep twisting because we're gonna use this pine later, so we need them to be a little on the long side. and a gray. Twist. See how they're different sizes? It doesn't even matter. Don't overthink it. Pull and twist. Fluff them up so it's nice and full. And you gotta sneak in there and find there's one more guy hiding in this beautiful mess. So one gray twist, one more tube, and all right, get it nice and sideways in there. You don't want to squish the other mesh, so you kind of gently push it out of the way so it can go like that. Okay. Yay, every port has some mesh in it. Beautiful. So now what we're going to do next is you're going to go ahead and grab your bag of ribbon. You'll have 3 different ribbons in it. They may be different widths. It doesn't matter. And you cut them to the length specified in your instructions. I've already cut mine. So I have my 3 groupings of ribbon. Now, after you cut, you're going to have some fray check in your bag. There are different ways to use it and different lids. This is just the one, I'm not putting the special blue lid on, but you are welcome to. And what you're gonna do when you open your fray check is you poke with a pin. Don't cut it because it will pour like water and then you won't love it like we do. But you're just gonna take it and run it on the edge, each cut edge of your ribbon that you've done. You just wanna do it. If it's already framed, just make a nice clean cut. Now you don't have to do front and back, but just both ends. And I've already pre-fray checked all of my pieces. So what we're gonna do now is we just grab one of each style of ribbon. We're gonna do the exact same thing that we did with the mesh, where we're gonna make an X and the third one goes right on top. Now for the ribbon, all we're gonna worry about is this small inner circle. So I find one of the ports, it doesn't matter which one, and I'm gonna put my ribbon right on top like I did the mesh, and going to pull and twist, then tuck that pine around because now we're done with it. And I just kind of fluff my ribbons up to look so beautiful. Now we're gonna do the same whole circle the exact same way. But since you're using 3 ribbons, the exact same 3 over and over, you don't have to do the same order every time. Like I had the lace on top that time. Now I love stripes. So I'm going to put my stripe on top this time. You can keep it the same order each time, or you can mix it up each time. It doesn't matter. All that really matters is that each grouping has one of each pattern. And I kind of fluff it and make sure, I don't want this stripe covering that one. That's beautiful too. Each ribbon has its own place. Now, what a lot of people tend to do when you're putting in your ribbons and we're doing all the fluffing, people tend to pull the ribbons in to the middle of the circle. And I'll show you what I mean. As I twist it, tight twist, single twist, tuck them down. I go to fluff them. A lot of people try to pull everything into the middle, but it makes your wreath look very small and closed off in like half of the ribbon. So when you do it, I kind of pull it out and then I just pull a few edges in and it opens up the whole wreath and makes it look so much more full. The wreath is all simple. The trickiest part is the fluffing. That's kind of what makes or breaks your wreath. So take your time and make sure you see each ribbon and that it's kind of coming outward. Do that and kind of find my pine. There's one. Twist and tuck and fluff. And you can kind of pull some ribbons over so all the groupings flow really nicely together. And you did this, or the exact same thing over and over. Oh, I think I put lace on the top that time, so let's do it on the bottom. Squish, goes right in, tight, twist, tuck, and then fluff. See, we love textures. Mix your textures, mix your patterns. I love dots with stripes, with lace, and never be afraid to mix your things. All right, so I find kind of the middle, squish it, find that pine. As you get going, the pine gets harder and harder to find, but it is there. Looks beautiful. Now, again, the pines on the top, there should be 8. Now again, the top inner circle should have 8 groupings, but sometimes there's 7 and sometimes there's 9. If there's 7, you'll end up with 1 group of ribbon left over that you can just kind of add on top of wherever. If you end up with 9 ports, you'll be short 1 group of ribbon. But what you can do is just kind of take 1 from 3 different groups and put it in. It's so easy. Again, nothing to worry about these wreaths. They are stress-free wreaths and you will love it, no matter how many you have. Tuck and pull. All right, that's the last of our ribbon. Lovely. See how these two are together? So I'm just going to kind of move stuff around. Love it. Okay, so now that our stuff is in, what do we do with our extra mesh? Well, I'm so glad you asked. We're going to take 1 of each color or 2 pieces of the same color if that's what you have. And this time we're just going to make an X. Don't worry about that 3rd piece. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to find those back pines that we did, and I'm just going to add right onto it. Don't worry about untwisting it. I'm just going to make my wreath even more full. Tight, twist, and now I can tug those because I'm done, and then I fluff it just to make it look extra full. Now on mine, I ended up with some more black than I did gray. So maybe what I should do on my next group is use 2 pieces of black. And then I'll just alternate black, gray, 2 black. And even if you miss one, it doesn't matter. This is just extra fluff, extra fullness. So there is no rhyme or reason. You just kind of look at your wreath and be like, you know what? I think maybe this spot needs a little something, something. So I'm going to take my extra mesh. Remember, just 2 pieces. And I just make an X. And it's going to go right on top of the pine that's there. Right on top of the mesh. No untwisting. Just twist it and fold. That's why at the beginning we just do 1 twist, because it leaves us all this extra to play with at the end. And then I just kind of fluff it and say, you know what, I still have more. Let's just keep going until it's all gone. So put it right in there, twist, tuck it. Beautiful. Now if you run out of mesh, and you see some of these little pines, you know what? We didn't get to use those a second time, so that's easy. I'm just gonna tuck them in so you don't see them and fluff my mesh around it. If you see a little bit of pine, it's okay. We match the wreath color to go with the wreath and the ribbons. So they will blend really nice. You might notice it because that's what you were working with, but no one who looks at your wreath will notice them. Now that we have all of the ribbons and the mesh in, it's time to add your decor. The wreath looks beautiful, but when you put in the decor, it really just sets it apart. It gives it the little definition that it needs. With your decor came a piece of twine. Now, if your decor has a long hanging string like this, you may not need the twine. But some of our decor will be a short string. So what you're gonna do is you're just going to use your twine around it and tie a knot. And we're gonna pretend it's all one piece. If your decor came with a sawtooth on the back, what you're going to do is just put your twine through that and tie a knot, and now we'll hang it this way. So since this one's long, we're going to do the same thing. Now pretend this is your twine. What you're going to do when you have your twine on your cute sign, and take this and tie a knot, we're going to nicely and gently, you don't want to squish this beautiful wreath, you kind of find your way through. And you're going to wrap your twine, let me show you once I get it kind of laid out, really nice and easy against the metal part of the wreath. See how I'm underneath it? And what I'm gonna do is I hold the twine while I lift up my wreath and see where the sign hangs. See how this sign, it is way too low. I don't love that. So I'm gonna take it, and maybe I need to shorten this a little bit. Or I can take it and tie it to the back part of my wreath. You really just kind of want to play where it is that you need to put your sign or your decor that you're putting in there. So I'm going to lift it, kind of play with it. I like it there, but see how there's this big gap? We definitely don't want to see that. So I'm going to nicely pull my mesh and ribbon up around it so it lays beautifully like that. Now, I'm going to lay my wreath on its stomach, but you don't really want to do that because it will flatten it. But what I'm going to do is show you that I'm just going to tie it like this. And each wreath is its own little creation. So you may tie yours differently than I tie mine. All that we care about is that you are securing your decor to the back part of the wreath. So when you hang it, it's not going to go anywhere. And then you can trim your long pieces of twine. Now that I've laid it down, I'm going to fluff it back up. Look how beautiful! I love this! Now that you've attached your decor, we're going to take it and just hang it up somewhere on a wall, on your door, it doesn't matter. You just want to hang it the way, and then it's going to be shown. So I'm going to hang it like that, and then I'm going to go and look at it this way. You want to look at it the way that other people will see it, and this is when you do your final floofing. And by that I mean, make sure every ribbon is seen, that everything is plucked perfectly. Now, I do like it when a little bit of ribbon is hanging on my sign. I feel like it makes it more part of the wreath, but you don't want to cover all of it. Just a little overlapping so everything looks like it belongs together. Now, sometimes under the sign, the things will get too mushed together. So really, you kind of want to make sure you're pulling that apart and focusing on that stage. But this is all you do. You just kind of go around and touch each thing. And it doesn't even usually take that much work. Just a little final touches. And you're done. You did an amazing job. You should be very proud of yourself. If you have any questions, please feel free to message us, watch the video again, and enjoy your wreath.